welcome to Road Testament. Road Testament.
Road.
Road Testament. I'm Mike Spinelli. That's JF Musial.
Hi, Mike.
Hi. Good to see you. At Drive on Twitter and on Facebook.
Facebook.com/DriveTV. Got it right that time.
Yeah, we got it right. Yeah, because if you type in Drive TV,
yeah,
when you're looking for something on Facebook, it doesn't come up. But if you
really?
type in Drive, it comes up.
That's really interesting.
It's very weird.
That's weird, yeah.
Either way.
So how you recovered?
I'm recovered. You recovered after our 25 hours stint?
25 hours of the 24 hours of the month. Yeah. That was tiring.
It was fun.
I'm actually kind of sick sitting in this position. This is kind of...
I feel like
I got tired of it.
I feel like we've been here for a week. I miss building forts, though, on camera.
Fort man.
That was fun.
That was good. Ooh, I got him.
Did you get him?
Yeah,
nice.
Awesome. All right, so what is the topic for today?
So today we decided to take a look at history, but through the lens of cars you can get now, because in America we've got this very weird rule where you could bring in any car you want after 25 years.
If it's 25 years old.
Yes. 25 years old. Canada, it's only a 15-year rule.
Yep.
But it has to, there are some other qualifications it has to meet, but for the most part, you could bring in cars as long as they're older than 25 years.
We have such strict standards here. A lot of cars that were sold around the world weren't sold here in the U.S.
Exactly.
A lot of cars.
And there are a lot of very cool cars that we would love to bring in.
Yep.
Now, we're sort of doing this in a vacuum, considering we have no money. But if we had lots of money, these are the cars. We picked 4 each. These are the cars that we would bring in right now, it being 25 years from 1987.
1987. These are the cars that are now legal in the U.S.
Right.
Yeah.
These are the coolest things we think you should bring in or you can bring in to the U.S. right now.
Go ahead.
Would I go? I would go first.
Yeah.
I'm going to go first with something, and basically, I'm just going to go out and just let everybody know. Basically, I picked all homologation Group A touring cars. So, just to throw that out there, that's what you'll be getting from me.
Okay. What's the first one?
Alfa Romeo 75 Turbo Evoluzione.
Very cool.
Right. Yeah. Only 500 made.
Cool.
We got it in this country as the Milano.
Really?
And
I had no idea.
Yeah, it was kind of lame.
Well, then I don't care about it then. It's just badge engineering at that point.
It is it's badge engineering, except in the homologation special. Only 500 were built for Group A homologation. And Mario Andretti drove one.
Really?
And it was amazing. Completely different suspension. New manifold, all kinds of sort of tricky engine stuff.
Cool.
But again, it's an Alfa Romeo, so you'll need a fleet of mechanics to take care of it. You won't be able to get any parts.
Yeah, so you're kind of crap out of luck.
Yes, but it's probably one of the coolest Group A homologation cars there are. So if you could find one of the 500, bring it into the U.S.
That'd be very expensive. Well, the one I have to list at the top of my list is the 959 Porsche. Now, technically, it took an act of Congress and a few, because there's so many black imported 959s in the U.S. over the past 10 years that
mean black market? Gray market. Gray market.
Sorry, gray.
It's okay.
Gray black market imported 959s into the U.S. They were eventually, there was an act of Congress because so many influential people actually brought those in, including Bill Gates and Jerry Seinfeld and all those guys. But now it's officially legal to bring into the U.S.
Bruce Canepa has spent almost entire career, well, one of his many things that he does, making those things legal. And you can still get one from him. Yeah, you still can get one from them, even though there aren't that many out there. But the first year was 1987 that those cars were actually sold. Cool. So now you can actually legally bring them into the U.S. And fun fact, and I learned this during our research, do you know they stopped production in '89, but in 1993, Porsche built 8 more 959s with the spare parts they had left just hanging around. I did not know
There are 8 1993 959s that are out there, and those are the most sought after 959s ever built.
So you can't bring those in?
No, not yet.
All right. Well, that would be interesting.
Next on your list.
So, all right, I also have the 1987 Nissan GTS-R.
Awesome.
R31.
GTR,
an R31 GTR.
Yeah.
You got your turbo. And it's funny because it was only, I think, tweaked out. I think it was only like 210 horsepower.
Which is a lot for the time.
It was a kind of a lot for the time.
It's more than my current car.
Right. but you know, had the rear steering.
Yeah.
Well, rear passive steering, I believe.
It was only like a few degrees.
Yeah, and it would sort of tow this way or that.
Okay.
It wasn't like it was like a fire truck.
Or like the 7 Series now does 10 degrees.
Yes,
in the rear.
Exactly. I just drove the R30, latest R35.
The 2013 GTR. It's amazing how far the GTRs have come in so many years.
And that's the thing, is if I were going to bring it in, I would want to get a new one and have that and then have the older ones. Yeah. But you still can't. So the interesting thing about the GTRs now is that you can't get the R31 is the first of the new generation, sort of the later generations that you can actually bring in.
Yep.
You can't bring in the more sought-after R32s and R33s yet, but it's interesting that you can get that first one that really started hinting at what was going to happen.
That's cool. Yeah. Well, my next one on my list is kind of similar to yours. Well, it's a Nissan, the Silvia S12 Mark II. Yeah, okay. Those were never sold in the U.S. The Mark IIs were never sold in the U.S.
Right.
And those are now officially on the list of cars you can import in. Now, whether or not you want to actually spend that much money to import one, that's a different question. But I always thought the Silvia was one of those cars as a kid. I was growing up and I was like, that's such a cool car. And it's like now that I want to say jaded. Well, now that I've matured in my life, I look back and think of how stupid I am for ever wanting such a vehicle. But
eventually we'll talk about the dumb poster cars we had on our walls. Eventually, but that's the problem with nostalgia is that when you're a kid,
everyone has a
Countach
or a 944, and for me a Silvia.
Yes, although the roof Yellowbird. I know I'm a bit older than you, but that's still a very cool car.
Of course. What's your next one on your list?
All right, of course. I'm going to go to the to Australia.
Okay.
For the Commodore SS.
Very cool.
The VL, I guess it was. By the 87 was like there was a V. Well, let me just make sure.
Look over those notes.
Let me look over those.
I'm going to give you the next one on my list.
Oh, you go ahead.
Land Rover Defender 110. Now, we had Defenders in the U.S., but they are now, and Defenders are still made to this day. In fact, on an upcoming Live and Let Drive episode, we drove one across Iceland.
You did.
But they are no longer illegal in the United States.
To import.
To buy new.
Right.
You can't buy new Defenders in the U.S., so though this sounds like a weird vehicle that maybe Europeans would say, why would you want one of those? Well, there are very few Defenders left in this country.
Yeah.
But I would love to bring a 110 in.
So what was it like to? I mean, you drove the diesel one. Now you could never get the diesel one here, right? Even in the
you can never. Yeah, I never remember a diesel coming here. Yeah.
Right.
What was it like to drive? Horrible. It's high center of gravity, but it's horrible seating position.
Yeah.
But. Such a cool car.
It's just one of those cars that are awesome.
You must have it. So what was the one you were
Well, obviously, all right, no, so I mean the
Holden.
It was the Holden, the Holden Commodore SS Group A. So another Group A homologation car. You might remember the Rothmans livery from that era, WTCC.
Cool.
Just a great, awesome touring car, V8. It had the GM platform that they use there.
That's cool.
Predecessor to the new Chevy SS. It would be what's the Caprice in other countries. So it's the predecessor to what'll be coming out in the next couple of years as the Chevy SS.
Very cool.
So if they ever race that in touring car, I guess they wouldn't have to because now they do. They have the other.
By the way, I'm now thinking about this is kind of off topic, but did anyone ever take a G8 and put a Holden body kit on it?
You know what? Interesting. They used to. You could buy a badge kit for the old GTO that was here, and you could put all the Holden badges on the GTO, and all of a sudden you're driving.
It's awesome.
It
was
was pretty cool.
Well, my next one on my list is a weird one. It is a Ferrari 328 GTS Turbo from 1987.
Ooh.
That's a very rare car.
Yeah.
Very rare car that actually I don't think many came to the U.S., if at all any.
I don't think we never got a turbo Ferrari here, except other than the GTO. And then the GT40. The F40. But
that's a cool car.
So obviously, my number one is the Ford RS200 Evoluzione. Or Evoluzione. Yeah, that's the Italian version. The Evolution. The Evo. 600. I mean,
Ford has gone to Modena? What's going on now?
Well, I mean, with Group B on the wane. I mean, that was really right before the Group B thing went away. It was a 2.1 liter, built for the '87 season and never raced.
Cool.
So that one you can get if you have, I don't know, 300 grand. I mean, I can't imagine. They don't come up for sale very often.
Wouldn't be able to find one.
But it would be hard. I think they made, 200 of them? They made, 24?
Huh. So realistically, none of these cars on this list will be anything that any one of us or any one of our audience members will ever buy.
Right.
But this is a fun little episode.
But if you're going to look at but if you're going to look at cars you could bring in now, if you're looking for a very long-term investment, I suppose.
Yeah.
In a lot of these.
Yeah.
And so something very cool that rich people can drive now.
There are investments still in the automotive realm. There are investments. A lot of people think that cars depreciate. Well, most of them do, but there are some investments out there. I still believe that.
And
even modern day investments. Look at the Z8.
Exactly.
The Z8 has $99,000 new.
That's true. That thing has really held its value.
You can't buy one for under $130 now.
Right.
First year R8, they were selling this for $90.
Yeah. Well, now they're what, in 130s?
You buy them new for $145 for a V8. It's stupid.
Anyway, so that's our question to you guys. What car from 25 years ago, what 1987 model from around the world would you bring into the U.S.? I mean, if you're watching from the U.K., I mean, you already got all the cool stuff anyway. I mean, or what?
Only 40% of our audience is in the U.S. at this point.
And if you're Canadian, you get it's 15 years, right?
Oh, think of all the early 1990s cars you'd love to bring in.
Exactly. So that's a whole other question.
That was sarcasm.
But I know. No, there's plenty. I mean, look, if there are enough. I mean, I'm sure there are plenty of.
I think the 80s were better.
Homologation
80s
cars
were better than the early 90s.
That's another show. Road Testament. JF, good to see you.
You too, Mike.
Hit us up on that drive and let us know what cars you would bring in from 1987 from other countries that would be legal now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Going on our KOCK road radio show tour.
Man boobs. See ya.